Okay, welcome to a late start, deep ministry tonight. Uh, yes, but we want to continue with the Christ letters. Um, they've been an enlightenment to me, and I hope if you've been listening to this ministry or these letters, they've been a benefit to you, the knowledge, the understanding of who we really are, just get really deeper and deeper. And currently we're talking about the ego. We're talking about um our ego. Our ego is a natural aspect of us, and we have allowed it to rule our lives. We have allowed it to rule our lives. When I'm looking at it, last week, the reason why I didn't want to skip Saturday, because last week we were reading, and somehow the ego um seems like when Christ described the ego, it was like he was describing my background. Okay, it was like he was describing um nature. We described nature earlier in the Christ letters. So I'm thinking, is our ego our true nature? And it's like our true nature um mixed with indoctrination. It's like our true who we truly are mixed with the illusion. So remember, our ego is the true aspect of us. Our ego is who we are. It protects us, it provides for us. And when we're in this place where we don't know who we are, it's like the ego it can adapt to that ability, can adapt to whatever you think you are, the ego can adapt to it. So when you're all selfish, the ego can adapt to it, and it's a powerful aspect. And and when we live in a world that teach us selfishness, that teach us I-ness, that teach us me, it seems as if the ego can adapt to that. The ego can adapt to whatever situation you find yourself in. And so that's what I think where the Christ letters are going with this ego. It's not wicked, it's nature. Our ego is really nature. It's who we are. It's who we really are. It's that nature aspect of us. But it has the ability that if you're all in yourself, and if wherever you are, that's where it's going to meet you and try to protect you and try to do what it should naturally do. So if you're in a place where um you're looking at other things, it's not the ego that let you look at other things. It's the indoctrination uh, of of this world. That's why Christ and all the prophets try to tell us we're in this world, but we're not of this world. So when the ego meets up with this world, then it's still doing what it does. It's protecting. It's doing what it does. It's still doing what it does. But it, it's not because it can't make us do the right things. That's what I'm going to say. The ego can't make us do the right thing. The ego is every creation has that ego, as that personality, as that sense of individuality. All creation has it. So, but it doesn't, if you're not understanding who you are as children of the Most High God, it doesn't force you to, because you have free will. It just be, it meets you where you're at. It meets you where you're at. So if you find you were saying, oh, you're so egotistical, it's not the ego. Um, It's making you egotistical. It's your will. You by the indoctrination by what you see in this world. It's I would say it's your consciousness. It's your consciousness. It's your awareness. Allow your ego to act in a way. Your ego is always it came with you to protect you. It came with you um to provide for your nature, whatever. It came with you, and it's always going to do that wherever you're at. It's not so if you're at the place where you're all jealous, you're all oh, you don't want so and so out of your in your life. That's the ego protecting you. That's you using the ego to do that thing. It's just doing what it naturally does. It remind me too, like the subconscious. It's not gonna ask any question. Oh, Debbie, why are you doing that? Why are you thinking like that? No, you have free will, and the goal is for us to come back to who we naturally are, come back to that ego that as it was meant to be, as it was meant for us, all protection, all safety, all providing. It just I haven't read it yet, but I think just know that the ego is our true nature. Our ego is our true nature when it's not interrupted and when it's not influenced by the things of this world. It's our true nature. And it's our true nature combined with the indoctrination of this world. So when we think ego, it's not evil. It's just doing what it naturally do. It's protecting us. It's providing for us. It's keeping us safe. And if you're not into the knowledge that you have an aspect of God living within you, then the ego, you're operating in the consciousness of this world. You're operating in the consciousness of this world. So the ego's still gonna work, and it's gonna work with the tools you give it. It's gonna work with the tools you give it. And if you're caught up in this world, your ego is gonna be caught up in this world. And when you decide to turn and be that person that you are, your ego is gonna turn too. Your ego is gonna turn. But that will, that's just our ego. If oh, I don't want to talk to so and so anymore, you know? And when that person comes, it's just gonna allow you to um you think you're just keeping it's protection. But from a worldly aspect and from nature aspect, protection is different. Protection is um like feathers. Protection is like your nails. Protection is just always keeping you safe. Protection from your nails to fight or flight, run and hide, you know, that's protection. All right, so let's go into Christ letters tonight, and we're continuing with ego. And whoever joined me, welcome, welcome. Look at me. I've been having internet problems since yesterday. Everything is circling. Everything is circling. Things doing what it's supposed to do. But we rise. We rise. Can be frustrating at times, but we rise. Okay. All right. So Last week, we talked about the ego in kids, the ego in children, and how we should talk to our children with seasoned words, with don't don't yell at your children. Don't allow the egos to start put up that defense mechanism. So the ego put up that defense mechanism when the child feels threatened, you know. That's what Christ telling us last week, that always don't let the child feel like they're human being. Let the child feel like they're matters. So in doing that, you're grooming the ego, you know, in not yelling at the child because they keep crying and crying and crying. And a lot of us as parents didn't know better before reading this Christ letters. Oh, we yell at our children because we grew up seeing being yelled at, and we yell at our children. And in doing that, that's how resentment comes. That's how fear comes, you know? No one told us that when let your child be heard, and when it's no, let them know the reason why. Let them not feel dejected and rejected. Because when it do that, then that's how the ego start putting up that defense mechanism and start that individuality start coming, and they feel like they can't, oh, you can't talk to, first thing they're gonna think, oh, I can't talk to mom about this, and I can't talk to dad about this, about that, you know? And no, you can't have that. No, the way we grew up, we gotta change the way we think, because we're affecting our children on a deeper level. We're affecting them spiritually. We're affecting them spiritually, the way we talk to them since they were born. Since they were born. We have to just treat that ego. We have to let that ego develop with love and a sense of togetherness, a sense of family, you know. Let the harshness go through the door. Let the harshness go through the door. And there's a scripture in the Bible, let your words be seasoned. And that it goes for children too. Go for children. All right, so tonight we're gonna pick up um right here to better describe the reality of the soul and the ego. I want you to cup your hands together, fingertips touching fingertips, and wrist together, leaving a space between your cupped hands. Your hands represents the human conscious self of a person, the ego. The space correctly represents the soul born of the father mother consciousness life at the moment of your conception. Whilst no human sense, it appears to be nothingness, it is in fact an offshoot of the allness and wholeness of divine consciousness, out of which all created things have taken form. Your hands with the space between represents the I. Your right and left hands represent two potent forces of magnetic ego drive. They represent forces of bonding and rejection, but at the same time, quite rightly, they are the physical representation of the physical energies known to science as magnetism, bonding, and repulsion. Okay, so this exercise, let me do it. So this exercise, we're gonna cup your hands together, fingertips touching fingertips and wrists together. Okay. Cup your hands together. Like everyone can see. Cup your hands together, leaving a space between your cupped hands. Let me leave that space between my cupped hands. Leaving a space between my cupped hands. Okay. Your hands so represent the human conscious shell of a person, the ego. So your hands represents the human conscious self, us, us. So your hands represent us, the human conscious shell of a person, the ego. The space correctly represents the soul, born of the father, mother, conscious life. We went over consciousness life, and we went over this earlier. Your soul was created at conception. The soul was created at conception when your father we call it ejaculated, and when that happens, he touched the spiritual realm. He touched in that he touched that spiritual realm, and we touched that divine consciousness because of the friction, everything that took place, and expel it into the ovaries and the wombs, expel it into the womb. And that's the same time the soul was created because it's his physical aspect and the you want to say spiritual or the conscious, universal conscious combined and ejaculated in the womb. Yeah, that's the sperm. That's what sperm is. That's the sperm, half divine, half physical, half spiritual. That's what the soul is. So, all right. So your hands represents the human conscious shell of a person. This is it. Our hands, the things the part we can see, and inside of us is our soul. Inside of us is our soul, born of the father mother conscious life at the moment of your conception, whilst to human senses, it appeared to be nothingness, nothingness. So this is the shell, the physical aspect of what we can see, but within the space between the shell, the space between in us is our soul, is our soul. And to us, it appears to be nothingness. It is, in fact, an offshoot of the allness and wholeness of divine consciousness, out of which all created things have taken form. Your hands with the space between the hands with the space between represents the I. That's your individuality. So both the soul and the physical aspect of it is your individuality. So you're not just a body, you're also spirit. The entire thing is your individuality. That's why we say all the time, we're not separate from God. We are not separate from God. This is the exercise. Your hands and the space within it is the one. It's one. And it's your individuality. You can't say, oh, you're separate from your soul. You are your soul. And your soul is the spiritual aspect of you. And so what there is saying, your hands with the space between it, it's your individuality. That's who you are. That's who we are. We have a body, but the true aspect of us is a soul. We have a body and a soul. So we have a spiritual aspect of us and a physical aspect of us. That's our individuality. Where it's not just our individuality is not just our physical body. It's our physical body and our spiritual body. And look, this is like when you're praying, look at this. This is like when you're praying. So maybe when we clasp our hands to pray, it's the union of the physical and the spiritual. It's the union of the physical and the spiritual coming together. All right. So, yes, so your right hand, back to the hand still, your right and left hands represent two potent forces of magnetic ego drive. So your hands, the shell, your ego represents two potent forces of magnetic ego drive. And magnetic is part of the creation. Everything is electric and magnetic. And if you've been listening to me, magnetic represents the feminine aspect of creation. Yep, 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 it does. Magnetic represents the feminine aspect of creation, and it represents, you could say feminine, and it represents your mother. That's why if you listen to these letters, Christ say Father, Mother, consciousness, electricity, and magnetism, Father and Mother. This is who we are. So our hands represents your right hand and left hand represents two competing forces working together. Two competing forces of magnetism, of the feminine aspect, of our mother. Two competing forces working together of the magnetic ego drive. So these two forces, they're what makes up our ego too. Bonding and rejection. They represent forces of bonding rejection, but at the same time, quite rightly, they are the physical representation of the physical energies known to science as magnetism. And if you're out there and you be like, oh, this magnetism, listen, look at an MRI machine, magnet. It's a magnet, magnetic resonance, EKG machine, echocardiogram machine. All those magnetism, all in this earth, it's magnetism. Anytime you hear magnetism, electricity and magnetism, electromagnetism, it is talking about your father and your mother. So that's why some people say God is energy. God is energy. So our physical aspect, this is what we're looking at. Our physical representation of the physical, they are the physical representation of the physical energies known to science as magnetism. So every time you hear magnetism, it talks about feminine energy. It's part of the creation. It's the visible aspect of creation, magnetism. It creates us. That's why many people saying it's the feminine aspect. This earth is Mother Earth. That's why people call it Mother Earth. Has a lot of feminine aspect to it. So right now the earth is in balance because it's more of the masculine energy. That's it's electricity, and the earth is not in, we're not, it's not in its natural habitat. It has to be balanced, has to be balanced. Okay, we're gonna continue with this exercise. So, where are we? Let me put my hands back up because the exercise continue. My hand back up. Okay. All right. So they represents they represents forces of bonding rejection, but at the same time, quite rightly, they are the physical representation of the physical energies known to science as magnetism. And it's also called a magnetism as it's not a form, can be divided into bonding and rejection. Look at a magnet. It can represent bonding and rejection. It can bond and it can bonding. It says repulsion, but some says rejection. Bonding and repulsion. Okay, all right. So we're going to continue with the exercise. But look at this exercise. This is what we do when we were kids and we're praying. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Bend back your right hand from the other hand. Bend back your right hand from the other hand and visualize that you use the right hand to get what you want out of life. It represents also what human consciousness perceive as the grasping attitude to life.
Mm.
Oh, I never expect that. Okay. So bend back your right hand from the other one and visualize that you use the right hand, the one you bend, the
Mm.
same right hand, visualize that you use the right hand to get what you want out of life. So visualize that the one that you bend, the right hand, that you use it to get what you want out of life by working, by praising, by giving thanks, wave your right hand, by receiving something, by receiving money. So what if you say um, by receiving healing in your right hand, bend it back and imagine that you receive whatever you want. You use this right hand. Most of us are right-handed to get what you want out of life. It represents also what your human consciousness perceives as the grasping attitude to life. Oh, grasping attitude.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to continue. Give time. Give time. That's my right hand. Let me hold my hands down. And it said, give time to this exercise and fully realize your right hand represents the magnetic pull, the bonding, the retraction, the gravity evident in all nature. It is the source of all wanting and desire. It is the magnetic impulse, which is always directed at getting what is necessary or greatly desired and pleasurable in life. This magnetic impulse is spiritually intended to be directed towards constructive purpose, gaining, holding, building, and achieving. Were there no other people are living things in the world, the magnetic impulse could have full sway in a personality and do no harm done. That was I always thought I've been thinking about this recently too, because they said a microwave of electromagnetic energy, and it's harmful to us. And I'm like, but if creation is electromagnetic energy, how can electromagnetic energy be harmful? No, I was thinking of that. All these things they tell us, we got to look at it at a second glance and be like, really? Really? What are you talking about? All
Yeah,
right.
because they say that causes cancer, right?
They said the microwave causes cancer. That's what they say.
Mm.
Why does it cause cancer?
What kind of energy does it have, first of all?
Exactly. And I know they're tapping into this electromagnetic energy and doing whatever they want to do, but they don't allow us to use it. And listen, if they tell us it causes cancer, then we're going to put it in our mind. And that's how we probably get cancer from it because we're thinking that it gives us cancer.
Yeah, because whatever you think you have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. This magnetic energy they tell us a lot of things. I was thinking today, just to divert too, sis. I was thinking just this afternoon, our menstruation. What make menstruation unclean? God, what good can God make that makes it clean coming from if we are gods and we get our being from God? Tell me how menstruation is unclean.
That's religion. Um, that's religion because I mean, I don't know. They always say that's the body purifying itself. I don't know.
Mm. This blood that comes from us has to have some form of nutrient stem cell, a lot of stuff coming from it. A lot of stuff coming from it because this womb, um I guess they said because each month because it's preparing for it was made
Childbirth,
for childbirth, and when that doesn't happen, it
it
sheds,
disintegrates.
it
Yes.
disintegrates, and a new one comes, that makes it unclean. That always that cleansing yourself, that if there was a baby in there, if it was a baby in there, it wouldn't shed.
True.
And that baby of that womb have everything in it to feed the baby, to have the to maintain that God. You have to say God.
Mm.
Have God have
Mm.
physical being inside of it and maintained it, feed it
Mm.
nutrients. How can the that blood be unclean?
Unclean. That's
Tell me.
true. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Never thought of that. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But
Just like
this is what they program us to believe and
exact,
think.
exactly, exactly. All right, sis. Um, I'm telling you, today's my let me show you how the universe works. We mentioned it tonight. Okay, bet the universe gonna send us somebody, or see, we're gonna hear somebody saying the same thing. We're gonna see a video, we're gonna see a book. All right, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Either me
Mm-hmm.
or you, the universe gonna send us something about this. Because it tells God doesn't make ease in us. How can we be unclean? He said we can't be less than his, we can't be greater than him, and we can't be, if we are gods, why is the stuff coming from us impure? What makes it impure?
Mm. Mm.
I don't know.
That's a good
I never
point.
read anything about it, but
Mhm.
understanding that we're energy beings and understanding um that divine aspect of us have you thinking. It just have you thinking, you
Mhm.
know, coming to the knowledge of who we are and just make you think like something not right. Make it make sense. All right, let's go back to this. We diverted. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we're talking about the magnetic impulses and we're doing this exercise and it says the pulling um the magnetic pull, the magnetic pull, the bonding, the attraction, the gravity evident to all nature. Where is that where we're at? Yeah. Okay, give time to this exercise and fully realize your right hand, this one, represents the magnetic pull, the bonding, the attraction, the gravity evident in the nature. It is the source of all wanting and desiring. It is the magnetic impulse, which is always directed at getting what is necessary or greatly desired and pleasurable in life. So, this is the bonding and the attraction. So when we say bonding, we're attracting things to us. So if
Mhm.
we're, you see how magnets works, sis, it attracts.
Mhm.
Yeah. You put
It
anything,
pulls. It pulls towards
it
you.
pulls towards you.
Mhm.
Exactly. It attracts. I used to love playing with magnets when I was little. I would all the metal things you put it on and then it will stick to it.
Even
So,
dirt. You know, if you pull, you can pull dirt with magnets.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, if you
Yeah.
like in the dirt, if you put your magnet, it will pull up all the dirt.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Mm. Oh, wow. Yeah. So this is what the right hand represents. It pulls things towards you. And this is how we have to think. That's why it says, imagine that um you're using the right hand to get whatever you want. You're using the right hand to get whatever you want because the right hand's supposed to be not necessarily the right hand it's talking about. It's the right hand, left hand, which represents the outer aspect of us, our physical aspect, as we're doing this exercise. So remember, it's not really the right hand. I know um we should be, I think, right brain or left brain. We should more be right brain, I think they said, than left brain. So that's maybe something have to do with that. Yeah, so the right hand represents the pulling, the bonding, the attraction, everything in the gravity evident all in all of nature. It is the source of all wanting and desiring. So when we're thinking this is what we're doing, that's bonding and rejection. That's how we're made up. That's the aspect of us. It's just saying that's the aspect of us who are always wanting and needing and want stuff. That's the aspect of us. Want stuff coming to us, attracting things to us.
But the Bible also speak of Christ sitting on the right hand of the Father.
Oh, yep, yep, it sure does. So attracting things to us. Or it's our ego doing that. It's our ego doing that. Yeah. So it is the magnetic impulse which is always directed at getting what is necessary or greatly desired or pleasure in life. The magnetic impulse is spiritually intended to be directed towards constructive purposes, gaining, holding, building, achieving. Were there no other people of living things in the world, the magnetic impulse would have full sway in a personality and no harm done.
Hmm.
Mm, yeah, magnetic is not dangerous. It is not dangerous. It is only when other people are living creatures or other people's persons and possessions have to be taken into account that the uncontrolled magnetic impulse to attract, draw, bond, hold, possess becomes a sickness of the personality if it is not equally balanced with the needs of all other living things. So let me highlight this. I haven't highlighted any. This is the only time this magnetic impulse is dangerous. It is only when other people or living creatures or other people's person, persons and possession have to be taken into account that the uncontrolled magnetic impulse to attract, draw, bond, hold, possess becomes a sickness of the personality if it is not equally balanced with the needs of all other living things. So I'm saying here that it is only when it becomes selfish, when it becomes dangerous. If it's when it's only thinking of that individuality. And I have to be careful when I use individuality because now we're seeing when I say individuality, it includes the soul, and the soul is not selfish. It's just the ego, the body,
Mm-hmm.
the person that's the soul is still perfect. Our true self, the soul. So this is only when magnetic impulses, when it's become selfish, when you're taking things by hurting other people, you're stealing in and I use stealing in a broad sense, stealing, oppressing, you know, not thinking about other people. Oh, you want this and you don't care. Oh, you get it. You don't care if you hurt other people. That's when
Mm-hmm.
it becomes unbalanced and dangerous. Okay, so we're going to return our hand. So return your hands to its original place, cupped with the left hand. Now pull back your left hand and visualize that this hand represents the magnetic impulse to repel, to push away, slap, or defend yourself from any unauthorized encroachment on your property or possession, or any attack on your character, family, or work. This left hand represents the magnetic impulse of rejection, which is spiritually intended to ensure your privacy and save your life. It is legitimate weapon when your physical or emotional survival is at stake, always providing you remember that your every action is an electromagnetic activity, binding, repulsion, blueprint in consciousness, which rebounds and externalize eventually in the form of a similar attack on the self. Okay. So it's giving us an idea here what the
Left hand.
projection, the say that again, sis.
I said, oh, we talk about the left hand, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the left hand is supposed to be to defend per se, and the right hand is to receive, promote,
Mm-hmm.
protect, in
Mm-hmm.
other words.
Mm-hmm. So it was spiritually intended for privacy and to save our lives. And it call it repulsion and repulsion or rejection. Did I say rejection? Repulsion. You say repulsion. So basically it's showing us the two aspect of magnetism, the two aspect of this ego, the two aspect. So one brings one as of this ego bring things to us, and one
Pushes away.
repulse, push it
Mm-hmm.
away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the it was really created for us. It was spiritually intended to ensure our privacy and save our lives. It is a legitimate weapon when your physical or emotional survival is at stake, always providing you remember that your every action, whatever we do, is an electromagnetic activity, binding, repulsion, blueprint in consciousness, which rebounds and externalizes eventually in the form of a similar attack on self. And yes, this we always have to remember that these emotions externalize, maybe not at the same time, but this is how we create by electricity and magnetism. When electricity and magnetism come together, our thoughts and our emotion. So let me highlight this. Always providing you remember that your every action is an electromagnetic activity, binding, repulsion, blueprint in consciousness, which rebounds and externalized eventually in the form of a similar attack on the self. I did a thing about our thoughts, and this is what it tells you. It tells you that our thoughts, if it's not balanced, and how you balance a thought is to create another thought. So if you think, oh, a bad thing, if you think a bad thought, then you think a good thought. You have to balance it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it does um externalized. It doesn't create, remember, our thoughts are consciousness. Our
Yeah.
thoughts are of consciousness to them. Talks about balancing your thought. And another way to balance your thought is to give it to your soul, your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is to give it to your higher self. Mm. So what we sow, we reap. This is how we create the things we're going through. Whatever we sow, we reap. I'm telling you, sometimes things happen to you. You want to be like, this have to be some force working against me.
Your thoughts?
Let
Well,
me
our
tell you.
own thoughts.
I,
Mm.
I didn't have anything on my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Time passed, I would have sworn it was the devil. I would have sweated so good. No, it was so I can't explain what it was. And I used my not I used my phone for directions. No internet, nothing. Okay, let's continue with this. See where this goes. The unpleasantness may be criticism from your parent, teacher, employer, and the words of self-defense which spring to mind and jump out of your mouth are ego words wholly given to self-defense, expressing the magnetic drive of repulsion and rejection. Oh my gosh, this happened. You know how often this happened? Our first instinct always is to protect ourselves, especially from criticism. You know that, sis?
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
see this a lot. It's just a natural thing that happens that when you're being criticized, you want to defend yourself. It takes a lot to like, walk away.
No, because we have to defend ourselves.
Yeah, it's just part of who we are. It's just who we are. That's what this repulsion is. It was created for us to keep ourselves safe. It's a natural part of who we are. So as your ego words of attack flare up into angry speech, so is the ego of your critic similarly threatened, and it also rises up in him or her as words of self-defense against you. What may have started out as a necessary and adult action of pointing out some error and a better way to do is frequently immediately seen by a self-centered, sensitive ego as a personal attack. What should have been a moment of growth develops into a time of conflict, anger, possible tears, ongoing resentment, and mutual hostility. Uh, uh, hostility. Yeah, I see this all the time, and I'm trying to work on that and listen and know that what you say about me doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't. You want to criticize, you want to do this, doesn't matter.
But we get hostile anyway.
Yeah, and a person, it's me who's creating my whatever happened in
Hostility.
my life. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's me. It doesn't matter who want to create. We gotta just train our ego. Like, listen, if we don't react or train our ego, I talked about this at the beginning. We have to train our ego not to, or when that urge comes, not to go along with the ego. We have to train it to allow us to be calm and let the ego know that it's not a threat. You know, it's an aspect of us, but we don't have to behave like that. People's opinion, it comes over time, yeah, where you're gonna protect yourself, but not in those. People talk. I was thinking about this today too. I'm like, people, they can talk or whatever. They're just talking about themselves. They're building karma on themselves. They're reaping and sowing. If somebody sit there and talk about how fat I am, or how ugly I am, or how um um I'm delusional and whatever, listen, it's your own ego don't know that you're talking about me. Your ego think you're talking about yourself.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it thinks you're talking about yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's what I notice about the ego. When you change your mind, the ego changes. When you train your mind, like tell your mind, like, listen, they could do whatever, they could talk whatever. You have to know who you are. People always gonna talk, and they're just talking about themselves. They too gonna sow what they reap. If you sit there all day talking about me, I feel bad for you because your ego, your soul, maybe your soul know, but your subconscious don't even know that you're talking about somebody else. Your
True.
whatever you know, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't. So you know what the subconscious do? It create whatever you give it.
Yeah, it does take whatever you say.
Yeah, it does. It does. It doesn't ask any question. Yeah, yeah. That's just how some of us, we get into trouble and we don't even know.
Yeah, because that makes sense because I had to think about it, once before because I'm saying when you talk about someone, don't you feel like you're talking about your own self? As like if I was to sit up and talk about my children,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But we can't even go deeper than that too, sis. We're energy beings, right? We're
And we're
energy,
the same energy.
right? And we're all from the same creator. So you can say you're talking about me, you're talking about God.
Well, let's say self because some people, if it's like if you say God, it's like, oh, you just said the worst thing ever, and it's
Well, they
like
could
saying the
think that
same
if they
thing.
that they
If
could
you
think
say
that if they
nature,
want.
if you say nature, if you say whatever name you call it, it's still the same.
Yeah, it's still the same. You say energy, you say feminine, masculine, whatever you say,
It's still the same.
it's
Yes.
still the same. They could think that if they want to. I mean, we can't pretty up things for people anymore. We're s- we're all one. We come from that same source. The same source running through bodies. Same source. So you sit there talking about, listen, you don't care who it is. It could be Trump, it could be Putin, or whatever. Who they are, it doesn't matter. There's an aspect
Hmm.
of God running through them. And even those who like, there's no, oh, you gonna say, if there's no God, there's no you. Well, if you, unless the way word you interpretate God, oh, God doesn't exist. Unless you're saying the way we think about God, that doesn't exist. But if you say there's not a divine source, there's not you. There's no you. You can't say there's.
Well, I don't care if you call it Allah. I don't call if you call it Buddha. I don't care if you call it Jehovah, Almighty. It's still energy. It's still nature.
Still
It's
nature, still
nature. It's
energy.
nature. Yeah.
It is energy. And whatever it's, we can't fathom it, but it doesn't matter what you want. As Christ letters told us, we just call the God of our being by different names. All these names you just mentioned. We call the God of our being by those names, by different names. It's like you have nature and you call it Buddha, Alan, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
hmm Jehovah, Yahweh, all that.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
Because if you want to think about it, the same energy that's in Buddha is
Mm-hmm.
in Allah, it's
Mm-hmm.
in whatever
Guys.
you may want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
it's still the same.
Mm-hmm. Same. It's the same. That's what we're saying. Mm-hmm. It's the same.
Even if you call it a cow, it's still energy.
Even the grass.
It's
If you
still
want to say,
energy.
if you want to say somebody worshiping the grass, let them.
It's still energy.
Still energy. If they're worshiping the tree, let them.
Yeah.
Still energy. We all come from that great source. Yep. That universal consciousness, Christ called it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in such swift, unexpected, unnecessary ways, conflict is generated in the mind, expressed in words, even actions, and perpetuated through resentment and hatred. Remember that every remember that every activity of the mind, the mental thought, and the emotional reactions of attraction and repulsion are all consciousness energies of creativity. This is what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
This is just what we were just talking about. Remember that every activity of the mind, the mental thought, and the emotional actions of attraction that we went over there, and repulsion, as we just discussed here, the anger, the fighting, the conflict, that's repulsion. And remember, attraction, you bring things to you. You bring things to you. Are all consciousness energies of
Mm-hmm.
creativity. Of creativity, these energies create. These
Mm-hmm.
consciousness energies not only create the unpleasant rebound forms, but they develop the direction of the character and even affect relationships generally and the environment. And they reduce the life vitality of the body, leading directly to a sense of physical malaise, viral infection, or long term disease.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go take it by line. These consciousness energies, and what are these consciousness energies? The mental thoughts and emotional reaction. The mental thoughts we talked about earlier, we're talking about other people, emotional reactions, just getting that defensiveness. And to put it slightly, it's this to understand it really. The mental thoughts are the things that we talk about bonding. Bonding wasn't intended for. All right, let's look at the consciousness energies that he says creating our sickness and uh, okay, let's spend a little time deeper into this. So these consciousness energies that he's talking about, let's go back up a little. Let's look at bonding and see why that bonding was created. Anything done outside of what it was created caused problems. Okay, so this is the left hand, represents magnetic impulse of rejection, and it's spiritual intended to ensure your privacy and your safety. That's all that um, rejection was created for. Let me start from up here. Let's go a little deeper into this that we get it. Let's start with bonding, the right hand.
Binding is your right hand
Bonding is your right hand.
to receive.
To receive, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where did we see it? Well, we can't understand it tonight. What really causing our illness and our lack. Okay. Oh no, I went back too far. Okay. Okay. So bend back your right hand from bend back your right hand from the other one and visualize that you use the right hand to get what you want out of life. It represents also what your human consciousness perceives as the grasping attitude of life. So bonding, this right hand is attraction. It attracts everything you want in life. It is the magnetic impulse which is always directed at getting what is necessary or greatly desired and pleasurable in life. The magnetic impulse is spiritually intended to be directed towards constructive purpose. So this is what I'm saying. Anytime we use these impulses outside of why they were created, we run a risk of creating things for ourselves.
So
Things
that's how we get problems.
exactly. That's how we get problems. We're dealing with two in this physical realm, we're dealing with two powerful we're dealing with magnetic impulse, but this magnetic impulse in our lives, it attracts and it repulses. Our repulsion, rejection, and it attracts. That's your right hand. That's your right hand.
Mm-hmm.
So this magnetic impulse is spiritually intended to be directed towards constructive purposes, gaining, holding, building, achieving constructively. Were there no other people or living things in the world, the magnetic impulse could have full sway in a personality and no harm done. Well, that's all the magnetic impulse. So down here it says, it is only when other people are living creatures or other people's persons and possessions have to be taken into account that the uncontrolled magnetic impulse to attract, draw, bond, hold, possess becomes a sickness of the personality if it is not equally balanced with the needs of all other living things. So when this magnetic impulses, as I mentioned before, attracts and draw and bond and hold, we mentioned it earlier in another previous reading that we hold on to people selfishly without
Mm-hmm.
thinking. It's like when we do this, we want to hold on to possessions, we want to hold on to people we think should love us. You know, we do things, hold on to things selfishly. That wasn't the intention. And how you know it's we're doing that, it's when it affects others. When someone is telling us, oh, you know what, Deb, you're being selfish and that's not fair to me. It doesn't matter if it's our child or our sister or our brother, you know. We have to have um a sense of caring for others. And when we do that, we're only thinking about ourselves. It's selfish. So when we attract, when we draw, when we bond, when we hold, when we possess, becomes a sickness of the personality. If it is not equally balanced with the needs of all other living things. And it just didn't say human being, it says living things. And if you see how we're getting possessions now and the animals are losing their habitats, we don't even think about that. We were just watching last week a fisherman fishing, and they're getting the baby fish. They're not even throwing back the baby fish anymore. So sometimes we think our sickness and not just sickness or whatever we're going through is only by we hurting other humans, but it comes too by we hurting animals and
And
our
plants
environment. We have to
and
add that to
plants.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, our possessions are coming by ripping down animals, frogs, and all that. The deer, they don't have nowhere to go anymore.
True.
So that's done selfishly. This is the problem we find ourselves in, and our society find ourselves in. We have to be mindful for all creation, it says here, not just other people. Yeah, it's good that right hand we want to attract things to us, but not selfishly, not by hurting. Not I'm not even gonna say other people by hurting other creation. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at the things, these impulses, these consciousness energies, the things, if we use them outside of what they were intended, that's how we create things manifested in our realm that works against us. So we just went over again the magnetic impulse of attraction. And attraction, just like a magnet does, it draws things to us. And yeah, we can draw things to us, but we can't do it selfishly. So if oh yeah, I want to work, I want a better job. It has to balance with nature, sis. No matter what you need, it has to be balanced. You can't, um, it's like you can't hurt anyone. You can't hurt to get what you want. You can't be selfish because that's not how nature is. You want to go to the market and sell your stuff, you want to make money, but you can't overcharge. You can't
True.
overcharge. That's basically what it says. Yeah, you're attracting, but it can't hurt other creation. Yeah, I want to attract things to my life. And we can always ask our higher self, help me not to be selfish. I want things in life, but not at the expense of others. Okay, so that's just a deeper look at magnetic bonding, the two great energies, bonding. So now we're going to look at the left hand. The left hand represents the magnetic impulse of rejection. So these two impulses makes up our personality, makes up the ego, the bonding and rejection. This is what we're talking about. So the left hand represents the magnetic impulse of rejection, and it was
Mhm.
spiritually intended to ensure your privacy and safety and save your life. Privacy and save your life. So, so your left hand, repulsion, rejection, keeping it away from you, keeping it away from you. That's what it was intended. Oh, the bus is coming. Okay, get out the way. You know,
Mm.
there's a big lion coming. Oh, go inside and close the door.
Protection.
Protection and save
Mm-hmm.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was intended to do. So, what did we do with it? It is a legitimate weapon when your physical or emotional survival is at stake. Always providing you remember that your every action is an electromagnetic activity, bonding, repulsion, blueprint in consciousness, which rebounds and externalizes eventually in the form of a similar attack on the self. So, this is just saying what we said earlier, these are creative energies, so we still have to be careful if they're not used the way they were intended to save life. So here it goes over um, how we use it. Hello?
I'm here.
Hey, my the line my computer went dead, so I'm on my phone, so I can't see
You can
the
get the
reading.
PDF.
Yeah, the PDF. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm waiting for my thing to I don't know why. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay.
They just kick you off?
It just kicked me off. It just kicked me off.
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But I'm gonna wait and go back and then we can still record.
Okay.
Still record. I'm telling you, I'm having the most technological problems.
All is well. It is well.
It
It
is
is
well.
well. It is well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've never seen anything like this. Let me start.
Remember, it's not God made, it's man made.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna switch back to hold on, sis.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay,
We're back.
we're back. Okay. Make sure recorded so we can have at least. Okay, let's just record it just in case. Yeah, so we just continue. Life goes on.
We are grateful.
Yes, we are. Yes. Yeah, so we were just going a little deeper into the exercise we did on the right hand and the left hand. The right hand represents bonding, attraction, attracting things in our lives, things we want in our lives. And I think the Christ letters mention that we have to use this. Yeah, we hear about attraction and using the right hand to get whatever we want. That's what it does by attracting things in our life. But it has to work with nature. You can't do it um, by hurting creation, not just other human beings, creation. You know, in spite of what we want, it has to work in what it was intended for. We can get whatever we want without hurting nature, other creations. This what when you so if you say you whatever you want, you could get at it, but make sure it's not at someone else's expense,
Hmm.
not just human being. Okay. And I think that's how sometimes our prayers go amiss because we're asking for things um, that's gonna, in our limited mind, we don't understand how it does. You know, that's why our prayer can't be so finite. Because I might ask for um, a bigger house. Oh, I want to expand my house, but I don't think, oh, it's gonna affect the birds around us. We don't think, oh, because we see ourselves so much bigger than the birds and the trees, you know. So the all knowing, not gonna give us things that's gonna affect. No, tonight I have to accept that. I never thought about other creation when we ask for things. You know,
Yeah.
we it's like we never did. Okay,
Yeah.
and
How many trees you have to kill or
exactly,
destroy, you
exactly,
know, to make whatever you want to make or whatever. And you know how many wild animals you have to, have to relocate somewhere else.
exactly, exactly. And someone be like, "Oh, I know people gonna be like, oh." Yeah, but other people does it and nothing happened to them. We don't know. We don't know if nothing happens to them, don't happen to them. We don't know. And it doesn't mean something happening, but we don't know. We don't know. Mm. Okay, and now we're looking at the left hand, which represents repulsion or rejection, which was created for our privacy and to save our lives. So it mentions how we react when we're criticized, the aspect of us that wants to and I know I feel it all the time. I always, because I grew up alone, so I always think I have to defend myself against everyone. I always,
Mhm.
because it's just of my survival instinct that I've used so far in my life.
And that's the only thing you know.
And that's the only thing I knew. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's part of me, but as it's saying here, we have that conflict aspect of it, you know. We have to be mindful of that. When we're defending ourselves, when we come into this knowledge, as we mentioned earlier, we don't really have to defend ourselves. I know they might look at us like, um, oh, they can't even look at you like that, because I notice the best weapon is sometimes when you ignore people. Because in this path that we're on, it's a path that we have to do ourselves, and we can't go around if we have to worry about what everything. If you, I was thinking of this today. That's how my mind works. Is I think about stuff all the time. If you worry about what people think about you, you're not going to be what God wants you to be.
That
You
is
can't.
true.
You can't. You can't. I wouldn't be here today if I'd worry about what other people's going to think. And eventually, what I noticed, eventually everybody come to understand that you just got to do what you just got to do. So their criticism, um, they could criticize all they want, because you have your divine soul within you that's leading you and guiding you, and you can't explain it to no one else. Nobody understand it.
That is true. But the sad part is whether you do good or you do wrong, they will criticize you anyway.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Because they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. And them criticizing you, all they're doing is create environment for themselves that they don't want.
Yeah, making it hostile.
Yeah. All you're doing by criticizing what I'm doing is making your life miserable. You may not think so, but you are.
Can't tell some people that.
Yeah. Well, who can't hear must feel.
Facts of life.
Yeah. All right. So we should use that bonding and rejection, um yeah, use it for privacy, use it for safety, use it for protection. No, that bonding and rejection, that repulsion, that rejection aspect, that left hand, that's what is used for. It's always protecting us. So the only way to reduce this conflict is to understand who we are. And then our ego won't be so quick to want to defend us in those situations, because our ego is protecting us. Their ego is protecting them. Everybody's ego is on the height. And that's how nothing's getting solved, and just wasted energy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, yeah. It's the ego is just doing what it was created to do, and it goes off. As I said earlier, and this is just my opinion. I just think our ego go off our consciousness. You get understand what I'm saying, sis? If we don't understand who we are, like right here, the left hand going up against someone criticized the work I did, and the first thing my ego is gonna be like, um, my ego is gonna be like, oh, um, I do the best job and try to defend me in a form of raising my voice, in a form of uh you know attack, in a form of um just defending me. That's my ego. That's my natural instinct. But what if I make my ego know that, listen, their opinion um doesn't describe who I am. They don't know who I am. What if I tell my ego that? And next time Jane come up to me and be like, you know what, Deb, you you shouldn't be wearing braids. You see, because I know that Jane's opinion is not who I am, and I condition my subconscious to know that. It's not, my ego is not gonna get all defensive. You see what I'm saying? You see that aspect of the ego that's coming to me. Your ego go based off your programming. Because I know when I came to this understanding, I came to this consciousness that Jane's opinion of me doesn't describe me, doesn't make, is not who I am. And I'm telling my subconscious and I'm telling my ego that. So when Jane come to criticize, yeah, my ego is gonna be under control because I know that, listen, I don't care what Jane have to say about me. There's some things, someone something on TikTok and said, why you think that your opinion of me matters? Why, what about me that you think that your opinion of me matters? Hmm? What if we program our subconscious to think that?
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that, then when we hear Jane talking about, oh, Jane was in the locker room talking about it, oh, whatever, whatever.
Simply ignore it.
Yeah, because but then you just have to program. You have to program your subconscious to know why you're ignoring it, and then your ego is not going to get all defensive. But if we in this world, like if we're in a place where we don't understand who we are, and you hear Jane in the locker room talking, oh, you shouldn't be wearing braids, or you shouldn't be wearing this or whatever. Your first thing is to go in there and be like, hey, take my name out your mouth, you know, because we don't understand that Jane opinion doesn't matter. So when we see people act out, sometimes they just don't understand it. They're just not to their knowledge. And you see some people do that. Listen, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you want to talk about me. You can talk about me all you want. Some people
Yeah.
ego don't react like that. And some
Well,
of us
it
do.
it depends on who it is, because sometimes I would say your opinion does not define me. That's my first statement. But it depends on who it is. Well, I think I should use that for everybody though.
Exactly. Everybody. And sometimes even today, I heard, I'm like, when you talk about somebody, you're talking about yourself.
True. That's
That
always
that will
true.
get them all the time.
That's always true.
Yeah, you're just talking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. So we see too, another thing I'm learning about the ego, you see too, your ego reacts the way with your programming. It's just doing what it does with your programming. So if there's no need, if you're coming into this consciousness and you're understanding who you are, then you will line up in what your ego was intended to do. And remember, we're talking about right hand and left hand. It is still the ego.
Mm-hmm.
It is still the ego. So when you're in this consciousness and you understand who you are, then the right hand will always know that, listen, yeah, I want that house, but I don't need to kill 10 trees to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So because you're into this consciousness, because we're all God's children, we're all part of God's creation. Well, you could, if you're not in this consciousness and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna expand my house and I'm gonna I'm gonna get rid of those 10 trees back there and expand my house and do whatever, 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 you know, that's how your ego is programmed right now. You're not thinking about creation, other creation.
That's out of selfishness.
Yes, it's out of
Yeah,
selfishness.
selfishness.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So it said by a self-centered, sensitive ego as a person, what maybe I've started out as a necessary and adult action of pointing out some error, and a better way to do is frequently immediately been by a self-centered, sensitive ego as a personal attack. What would have been a moment of growth develops into a time of conflict, anger, possibly tears, ongoing resentment, and mutual hostility. In such swift, unexpected, unnecessary ways, conflict is generated in the mind, expressed in words, even actions, and perpetuated through resentment and hatred. Remember that every activity of the mind, the mental thought, and the emotional reactions, see, the mental thought and the emotional reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So those two have to go together to create your thought and your emotions. That's electricity and magnetism. Your thought is electricity and your emotions. Your thought and your emotions have to go together. Okay. Reaction. Remember that every activity of the mind, the mental thought, and the emotional reactions of attraction and repulsion. Those are our emotions that we use to create attraction
Mm-hmm.
and repulsion are all consciousness energies of creativity. These are what we use to create. I know if you listen to my channel, I'm always going to say that. These bonding and repulsion or rejection is just emotional energies, our ego energies. These consciousness energies not only create the unpleasant rebound forms, but they develop the directions of the character and even affect relationships generally and the environment. Yeah. And they reduce the life vitality of the body. They reduce the life vitality of the body, leading directly to a sense of physical malice. So when we all have that malice and malice in others, it affects us. Viral infection, viral infection.
Mm-hmm. It's
CV,
that jealous
CV,
spirit.
CV
Yes,
is a viral
yes,
infection. AIDS is a
yes.
viral infection. We don't even know that. That viral infection or long-term disease. Yeah. The higher way when undertake of any kind, a way having only constructive repercussions, is to remember you can instantly call upon divine consciousness from which you will draw instant protection in any eventuality. But this is only possible if you can move beyond the magnetic ego drive of resistance in the perfect assurance that divine consciousness meets your every need. And this is very powerful here. I like this. So it says the higher way, when under attack of any kind, a way having only constructive repercussion, is to remember you can instantly call upon divine consciousness, and that's what you call your God. That's the energy, whatever
Mm-hmm.
divine
Mm-hmm.
consciousness from which you will draw instant protection in any eventuality. But this is only possible if you can move beyond the magnitude ego drive of resistance. And the magnitude of ego drive of resistance, and that's the repulsion. So when that ego drive comes, we just talk about not allowing it to dictate our emotions. You know, I'm gonna malice my friend because you criticized me last week. You know, I'm not talking to you because you come, all those malice and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, resistance, pushing away. That's what the ego does because you hurt me last week. So, um, I'm not talking to you, magnetic ego drive of resistance. But this only possible if you can move beyond that. We have to move beyond that ego. And when we said move beyond that ego, we don't let our ego be in control. We get control back from our ego based on our reaction. Listen, I don't have to react that way anymore. I don't need that form of protection anymore from my ego because I know who I am,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I don't need that from my ego anymore. That's not allowing your ego to take control. So if we move beyond our ego in the perfect assurance, that because divine consciousness is going to meet your every need.
When we allow it, when we allow it,
Yeah. But
yeah, when we allow it.
if ego is trying to protect us, that means we take it out of the hand of the divine consciousness.
Yes,
If we're all ego, we don't have no room for divine consciousness. Because
absolutely not.
yeah, no, yeah. Because we're doing everything in the me, I, you know.
Mm-hmm. And a lot
Oh,
of us are like that, including
oh,
myself,
of course. We're
including
learning
me.
every day, sis.
Yeah.
We're learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even
Mm-hmm.
though we read, the good thing about this is when we read it, we recognize it in
Yes,
ourselves.
of course. We see ourselves,
We see
because
ourselves.
some battles we fight that we're not even supposed to be touching. But
Exactly.
no, no, I'm
Exactly.
big bad mama. I'm
I
gonna
know.
fight.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
we leave, Christ said, give it to divine consciousness. Give it to your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to your higher self. Give it to your sis. I see myself in this all the time. What this it's just this just really opening our eyes to who we are. We can't even
Yeah.
look at anybody else.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's true.
yeah. Okay. Now return your left hand to its original position with the right hand. Realize that throughout this exercise, the space between your hand has remained the space. It has not been involved in any of the activity of the hands. And so it is with your soul. When your ego is busily at work, second by second, always and forever, on the alert to fulfill your needs and defend you from your unpleasantness, the divine consciousness of your soul remains hidden, although it is always within you. Mm,
Wow.
mm.
Wow. That makes
Wow.
sense.
Yes, yes. We just touched on it too, sis. Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense.
That makes
While
sense.
while the left hand and the right hand is fighting, the soul is right there saying, I'm here. I can make it simple for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just let me. Just let me.
Just
Hey,
get rid of your ego. Just
hey.
yeah, stop.
My.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. This is powerful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is,
Whoa.
mhm. It's not involved in any of the activity of the ego.
Whoa.
This is something else. This is something else.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I just realized how many unnecessary battles that I fought that I
yeah.
could have been free and just
Free,
like, how
free.
yourself, you handle this. And I just sit back.
Yeah.
I done got beat up so many times.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm ashamed. Oh,
Yeah. This is a good exercise. Use your right hand. The soul always there. And we're back the left hand and the right hand are battling and doing this and with the ego. So mm, soul is just there.
mm-mm,
It has
mm-mm.
not been involved.
Just easy, just easy. Like, pick me,
Easy like
pick
Sunday
me,
morning.
pick me. And you're like, no, no, I'm gonna fight.
Yeah.
Pick me. I can do it. Pick me. Oh my. Oh me.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, this is where we're gonna leave it today. We're gonna meditate upon this
Mm,
last paragraph we read here because it is really, really deep.
that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
It is. Yeah.
Whoa.
Hmm. It's not when it says it has not been involved in any of the activity of the hands. And so is it with your soul when your ego is busily at work, second by second, always and forever, on the alert to fulfill your needs and defend you from unpleasantness. Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah. The divine consciousness of your soul
Yikes.
remain hidden, although it is always within you.
Mm-mm. Yikes.
Mhm.
Mm-mm. Wow.
Oh, I'm gonna read this. I really little bit about this. What he said. When I was on earth, I spoke to the people about the kingdom of heaven. You see, now you understand. Now I'm gonna go crazy. Now you understand when he said the kingdom of heaven is within you.
It's in us. Yeah.
It's the soul he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Look at this, sis.
It's
When I
in us.
was on earth, I spoke to the people about the kingdom of heaven. I said it was within you. So it is. It so it is. It is your soul. It is the heaven of equilibrium of the divine consciousness,
Oh,
which gave you being as a future man or woman. Hmm?
oy,
Huh? Huh? Huh?
oy.
Hmm?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, sis.
I'm
Now
not
we can
listening to no
reinterpret.
pastor tomorrow.
Uh,
I'm not listening to no pastors tomorrow. I got to dig deep.
listen how deep this is now. Look at all those parables that he said the kingdom of heaven is like unto. All
Mm-hmm.
those parables in the Bible, when he talk about the kingdom of heaven is like unto, it's the soul within, it's talking about your soul within you. So we can go back and interpret those parables about the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's like unto. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
The
It,
kingdom
but
of heaven is like unto. Let me see if one I can remember. Um, oh, is it the only one I can remember is prodigal son.
the
When
prodigal son.
the prodigal son, when um he left. He left and go out and eat and drink and come back to the father.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you
yeah.
see, that's how we are. We then at the end when we go out there and we ego and nothing is working for us, then we come back and here we are trying to find because we're not gonna get satisfaction of anything out there if we don't tap into who we truly are.
True.
And when that happened, oh my gosh, the blessing, that blessing that comes with that, sis. The fattest calf, the ring on the hand, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ay, ay,
And
ay.
I was thinking too, I'm like, I don't know about I don't know if it's me, but listen, you might say, oh, you want anything physical. I'm gonna put it doesn't, oh, you might, oh, I need to do this in my house. I need to do this. And you do it, and then it's like you don't feel it's not fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Then you're looking for what to do next because it's just things. I don't know. It's just things. But when you
That doesn't give
say
us any
no
satisfaction.
satisfaction, it seems as if only the thing done um in working on our soul, in working on ourselves gives us satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm feeling.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
It's making sense.
And you remember people used to say, oh, money doesn't make you happy. It is so true.
Yeah. Well,
And
you can't tell some foods that
we
though.
can't tell people that. I know.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta go. We gotta go into. I think there's another one about money. Yeah, I'll go in the scriptures and talk about. I was gonna close, but something just tell me to continue read and see. Here it is. Yeah, yeah.
But remember the money chasers was put out. Remember
Oh.
that the money chasers.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
But in reality, we wasn't even supposed to be dealing with money no way.
Anyway, it's so low
Because
vibrational energy.
Because remember when Christ was traveling, and then Caesar said that they had to pay taxes, he sent Peter to get the money out the fish mouth
Out of the fish mouth. Yeah.
because he didn't travel with money. Money
Nobody, yeah,
was
they did.
not a necessity. Mm. Only in Caesar's world.
Only in Caesar's world, yeah. Mm. Ah, let me reread a little. It's almost done. And let me read a little. This is so good. I greatly long to be able to put your minds abroad, to put into your minds a broad view of your source of being, to enable you to perceive a little more clearly your beginnings, from whence you have come. You must also understand at all times that when I speak a word of description of that which is truly unknowable, I am myself standing in the very highest, infinite, infinitesimal frequency of vibration on the very edge of the great universal equilibrium out of which all things have drawn their being and taken on their form. So he's saying when he, when he's talking to us, he's well, the person he's giving these letters, he's at the highest form of equilibrium, the heavens of heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's trying to come back, return to for us to understand. So he says, if I speak of a mountain, a picture will come to your mind, but you will not know the immensity of its structure, the endurance of its rock, its ravines and peaks and caverns, the snow which caps it all season, the waterfalls cascading into pools when its glaciers melt. For you to gain a glimpse of the grandeur of the mountain, I would have to go into a detailed description of its every nook and cranny. Even after the most detailed verbal explanations, you will still have only imagined mental pictures to draw on. You would still not know the mountain. Get what he's saying? He has to do all this so we to understand the soul, the source of our being.
Yeah, 'cause
If I speak of a hurricane, I can bring to your mind trees blowing to the ground, bent by the tremendous winds, walls crumbling, rafters broken, bricks and roofs flying, window shatters, cars overturned, great trees uprooted, but you will never know the force and the noise of that wind, the crash of falling masonry, or the terror it generates in people's hearts who have to endure it until you have experienced it yourself. And so it is when I try to describe for you that which brought all creation into being. You can only guess, not know. It will only be after you have experienced all I have spoken about for yourself that you will begin to gain some idea of what I am trying to tell you. Therefore, let no one who reads my letters dispute with another or deny the truth of what I am teaching to you or refute my words. For I tell you truly that you cannot fully know what you have not experienced. It is only those who will follow me in acceptance and faith into daily meditation, the cleansing of consciousness, and impassioned prayer of enlightenment who will eventually gain ever deepening glimpse, then experiences of what creation itself may access divine consciousness. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So it's basically saying we are, but just reading sometimes. I know it's not the total of what he wants us to understand, but tonight I really felt something that we gain an understanding of what Christ is trying to tell us. Because we have to remember that our eyes is our vision, what we see is so limited from what the thing actually is. That's
True.
basically what he's saying. But I don't know for you, sis, but this really opened my eyes really to what the exercise with the hands, to what Christ is trying to tell us about the soul. Always there, always.
Yeah,
This is what the
because
church is built on, my sister. The kingdom
yeah,
of God is within. Nobody ever teach it. Nobody don't want to preach it.
true.
They don't want to teach it. The
Because
kingdom
they
of
don't
God is
know.
within.
They don't know. They say it, but they don't know.
They don't
They
know.
truly don't know. Because like you said, even when you put your palm together and that space is still there, it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. And that's how they taught us to pray. That's how our ancestors taught us to pray. They
Yep.
probably have some idea what that meant, putting your hands together. You know, the energy between your hands represents your soul. That space between your hands represents your soul. So maybe you're praying to your, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of this. Maybe you're praying to your soul.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Mm. This represents your physical body outside, and when you clasp your hands, it represents your physical body on the outside and your soul within. So are we praying to our soul? Mm,
Mm.
I don't know. This had me thinking.
Mm.
See what I'm saying, sis?
That
And we didn't get
space,
that. We didn't get that. We got that from our ancestors.
that space. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because yeah, as a child, you bend down, you humble yourself, and then
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Now you,
mm.
yeah. Are we praying to our soul?
But your soul is your God, and God dwells in us. So
Exactly.
who else would you be praying to? Ah,
Ex- Yeah, but then you tell you that then you look outside and say God is not, God is in heaven. You see
God
the
is in
con
the sky, up
God
in the
is in the
sky,
sky or
above the
something
clouds.
above
Yeah.
the clouds, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
all the time God
He's right
is
in front of you,
in front of
right in
you.
front of
And you're
you.
when you clasp your hands, I remember in school they say clasp your hands and close your eyes. Oh my God. You remember that, sis?
Yeah,
Yeah? Clasp your hands and close your eyes.
I still do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
and I haven't done it in a while.
I still do that. Yep, I put my hand together, especially when I'm fasting and I'm kneeling. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't done that in a while, sis.
Yep.
I remember where I read that.
Wow. This is whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is powerful, sis. I never I couldn't have thought this.
Mm.
Yeah, this is powerful. Are we praying to our higher self when we did that?
Ah.
And that's why they put prayers on us? Maybe I'm thinking too much. I don't even think they do that in Jamaica anymore. Oh my gosh, because
Mm.
sis, we were praying to the true God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's why things are so different now. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ah, all right.
Mm.
Mm,
Wow.
hmm I haven't done that. I can't remember the last time I did it.
Mm-mm. Whoa.
Yep. Yes. We were praying to the true God within. And we clasp our hands and close our eyes. I remember that now like yesterday. Ah, thank you, my
Yeah.
sister. Come on this journey with me. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you
Mighty
for your
God.
support always. I know you're not doing it of self. There's just that soul within you, just pulling you higher and higher and higher, and you're being obedient. That's all that is.
I'm grateful, very grateful.
Oh wow, it's a lot. It's a lot. And we have how many more pages to go? We have a long way to go still.
That's okay. That's okay. We're in no rush, no
No, we're
hurry,
not.
no hurry,
But I
no
can't. A
hurry.
Saturday night can't come out. I don't do this because I'm gonna sit in there and I'm not gonna have anything to do. I'm not gonna want to watch TV. I'm gonna think about. I should have went on the prayer line, not the prayer line. I should have, So I'm like, what's it?
Yeah,
This one was something else. This one was something else. It was always the soul, sis. Soul.
just think, just
And
holding your hand has a meaning that
uh,
we never been taught.
we never been
Never been taught.
never
Why?
taught because we wouldn't be in this lack. We wouldn't have these sickness. We
Mm.
wouldn't be at job slaving our lives away. Sometimes you
Mhm.
look at it, why would God just put us here to work, 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 never have fun, never enjoy? That's not the God I come to know.
That's
Something
not
was
the
always,
oneness that we know.
huh?
I said, that's not the oneness.
No,
The oneness,
no.
one with the
That's not
Father.
nature either, sis. That's not nature.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Mm. And oh my gosh, when the Buddha meditate, that's what they do. That's what they do, clasp their hands
Mm-hmm. And sit.
and sit.
That's one reason why they so disciplined too.
I know
They're
they
very
are
disciplined.
very
Yeah, very disciplined.
in
Yeah.
temperament and spirituality.
Calm and
Yeah,
just simple. They're very simple. They love nature.
love nature.
Mm.
Okay. This is something. This is
This
something.
is good.
Yeah.
This is really good. Really good. I have to go back and re-listen. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one I'll post this tomorrow because we're not live anymore, so I just record it. Well, I'll probably post it as part two.
Oh, I have to re-listen to this. This is really good.
Yeah.
My.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, Father, we thank you tonight. Thank you. We,
yes.
I'm clasping my hands, sis.
Yes, yes. One is for receiving and one is for protection.
Yes, and the
Yes.
soul in the middle,
And the
the source of
soul
our
right
being.
there. Yes,
Yes,
right there.
yes,
Oh, just sitting there all the time.
all the time. Oh,
Mm-mm.
mm, we thank you. Oh, Father,
Yes,
we thank you tonight. We thank you because, and and we thank the God of our being, our higher self, our
yeah,
soul,
yes,
because this wouldn't have been possible. And it's like, oh my God, here's not things we didn't even understand, things we weren't even taught. And this wouldn't be possible without the leading and guiding of that divine source. It wouldn't have been possible. And Father, I thank you. I thank you for my sister also, that we too here sitting tonight. Father, we're no special, we're not better, but we went after that thirst, that hunger within us, and we
yeah,
were fed, and we were fed.
yes. Mm,
We were fed, and everything opens up. And we thank you. We can, as you said, we can, when you talk about a mountain, we can't understand the beauty in its entirety. When you talk about the soul, we can't understand the power or the beauty or the love that we're made up of that works on our behalf. We can't. But the limited aspect of it that we can understand. Right. Father, we're thankful. We are thankful, Father, Mother
yes,
God.
yes, yes.
We are thankful that at this time, here we are. And wherever this will go, Father, we pray that all eyes will be opened up to the truth of who we are. Father, I thank you. And we always pray for those who are sitting on the street corner tonight. Father, we thank you for them. Father, we thank you for those who's lacking tonight. Father, they don't understand that power within that lives within them.
Mm,
I thank you for my sister. I thank you, Father, for her healing. I thank you, Father. I know we can't understand why things happen. And Father, here she is before you tonight. I don't know if this is what it takes for her to understand who she really is. I don't know if this is where you have brought her so she can know the power that lives within her. So, Father, I thank you for
yeah,
her faithfulness and her
mm,
truthfulness and her obedience. Sometimes you just got to slow us down so we can see you. And I pray, God, that when she rise, God, she'll be a living, breathing testimony of the power that lives within us. That when she rise again, Father, She'll take your ministry to the ends of the earth and declare your glory, no matter what it takes. That when she rise again, God, she'll change a whole world because of where you've brought her from and where you brought her so she can see the power that lives within her. I thank you, Father. I thank you tonight. I thank you for her, that you may bless our homes tonight, Father, Mother God. I thank you. Thank you for your divine protection. We're asking you for protection in our homes, our communities, our states, our country.
Yes, yes,
I thank you tonight
yes,
as we go and as we sleep. We thank you for our health. We thank you. We just thank you. Thank
yes.
you because that's who you are. You provide. You make a way. There's no way. You give us everything we need. So we thank you tonight. Bless us. Thank you for all of our bloodline, Lord God, those
Yes.
here, there, and everywhere, wherever they find themselves tonight, our spiritual family, those who are out there, God, those who are going to hear these words. We thank you. Thank you. Bless us and keep us and watch over us. This is thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, yes. You know, this remind me of the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, I think, or
Mm-hmm.
chapter 1, when Paul says, you know, let the eyes of our understanding be enlightened.
Mm.
And I believe tonight, and
Yes.
well, I not just believe, I know tonight was that night
My gosh.
that we have come into enlightenment. Mm?
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just because, just really, just knowing that, you know, our soul is
Yes.
always there to help
Mm.
us, to
Mm.
guide us.
Mm. Mm.
But
Always.
but because we have been taught wrong,
Mm-hmm.
we was never learned or taught to depend upon that soul,
No, we
the
never.
one, the God that's within us.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. We never thought. Never. We never. I'd never. Even as today, I came on this platform. We didn't even have a clue. We're talking about the ego,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew it was within us, but just the explanation of it, give us such a deeper understanding. You know, I didn't expect my eyes to be open like this coming
Mm-hmm.
on here tonight.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
And it doesn't apply just to humans, it applies to animals,
creation.
nature,
Yeah.
creation, all across the board, straight across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Straight across the board. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Creation.
Oh. Yeah, but
Yeah.
how often we only think about humans only. We don't
Yeah.
think about the cow, the horses, the
No,
pig, the
we never
chickens.
do. No,
Huh?
we never do.
Jeez.
We never do.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay, sis. Have a good
All right, my
Sunday.
darling. Okay, well, you get some rest because I know
Oh,
you work
yes.
today, so you get some rest and we'll chit chat.
We'll chit chat. Yes,
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 yes, yes, indeed. All right,
yes.
richest blessings.
God bless, sis.
All
God bless.
right, bless you too, dear.